What's up guys, it's Resist Epics here and welcome back to another video. Now, considering how well my other video did on F1, I think I'm going to do like a mini F1 series where I just kind of talk about like F1 news and F1 like reviews and all the races and stuff. So let's get straight into this. So as you can probably tell by the title, we're going to be talking about the Spanish Grand Prix, and basically this Grand Prix was probably my probably one of my favorite Grand Prix I've ever witnessed / watched. Because, let's be honest, it was just an absolutely great race. So, if you have not seen it, this video does contain spoilers. So, if you don't want to get spoiled, just click off this video, go watch it, and then come back to this video. So, yeah. First of all, I'm just going to say you've been warned. So, yeah. What do I want to talk about first? So, we're going to talk about the things, like, in order of the events. So first we're going to talk about the start. So the start was very interesting. Obviously Rosberg had a really good start and Hamilton had a half decent start. It was definitely better. Definitely one of his better starts this season. And Rosberg around the outside into turn 1 and got him on turn 2. And then we found out that apparently Rosberg was on the wrong setting for the start of the race. So halfway through turn 3, he was trying to like fiddle with his wheel, trying to get it like all set up, and by the time we were heading down the straight, Rosberg covered over to cover Hamilton, and Hamilton was already there, but he didn't actually check. But by the time he stopped messing with his steering wheel, he looked to his mirror and looked over, and Hamilton was on his inside. So obviously then Hamilton was pushed to the grass, and yeah, just kind of got out of shape and spun and crashed into the back of Rosberg, and Hamilton and Rosberg were then out of the Grand Prix. Obviously, me being a Lewis Hamilton fan, I didn't really mind too much about this, because obviously we get a different like kind of race perspective. Like if the Mercedes weren't there, what would the race be, or what would the championship be? And it's kind of like, oh, the Red Bulls are back. You know, the Red Bulls really fought, and I'm gonna get into more on that a bit later. But now focusing on the Mercedes, like obviously Mercedes out of the race, it was definitely more of an exciting race because of the actual crash. Now I'm going to talk about whose fault I think it was, and obviously trying not to be biased, if you know what I'm saying, like because I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, I might like put more of the blame on Rosberg, but I'm just gonna say I kind of do feel like it was Rosberg's fault. I did look at it from both point of views. I did say, oh well, Hamilton was kind of a bit aggressive on the overtake, trying to get his place back, and you could probably feel the frustration for Lewis Hamilton after the bad start he's had to the season. But obviously Hamilton, I'd say, was a bit aggressive, but also Rosberg should have obviously got his settings right at the start of the race, and should have obviously been more self-aware of what he was doing and where everyone else was on the on the track at the start of the race. Because obviously it's the start of a race, you know, you're gonna have people coming at you left, right, and centre, really. But then again, it's Spain, it's really hard to overtake. But still, it's the start of the race. I think Rosberg should have been more aware. If I was gonna put a blame on someone a bit more, I would have said Rosberg, just because of the fact that Hamilton was entitled to his line, because his front wheel and his front wing was alongside Rosberg's rear tyres. So I say that Hamilton was entitled to that position, therefore making Rosberg the one to blame. But also then again, obviously Hamilton was a bit aggressive with his overtake. So yeah, that's my view on it. I kind of looked at it from both points of views, but I mean, what can you say? We're just gonna have to see what the FIA, the stewards, kind of think about this incident. Obviously, Mercedes haven't really said much of it yet. Said much about it. Obviously, I think I might have missed the interviews actually with the drivers. I don't know if they've had any yet, but I'll let you guys know on that if I hear more. But now, the big point in the video, the battle between Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel, and Kimi Raikkonen. This battle was absolutely sick, you know. We were like halfway through the race, 3/4 into the race, and because they were all on kind of different strategies, I'd say Max and Kimi were swayed on one strategy of a two-stop, and Sebastian and Ricciardo were kind of on a different strategy to them. That's why they were behind towards the end of the race. Once it was in that part of the race, you really didn't know who was going to win. I really didn't know who was going to win because obviously Sebastian and Ricciardo were on much fresher tyres than Max and Kimi, so maybe they could have caught. But I think the squabble between Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel really made it harder for Sebastian, definitely more than Daniel, to catch Kimi Raikkonen and Max Verstappen, because he was more or less defending the last couple of laps from Ricciardo, because we saw Ricciardo not give up on Sebastian until he got that unfortunate puncture, which I really think is coincidental. You know, first we had the Hamilton conspiracy theories, now we have the I don't know if there's any conspiracy theories about that yet, but obviously Ricciardo having 2 punctures out of 5 races. Still ending up 4th though, so it's well, he didn't really lose much, but obviously he could have finished on the podium. But yeah, let's talk about Verstappen now. So Verstappen, obviously brilliant race for him. No one expected him to come and win this race. Everyone expected him to have a good race. Everyone was like, oh, Verstappen's going to have a really good race, and Kvyat is going to be, oh, this guy will never drive for Red Bull again unless one of them drops out. Which if one of them does, I don't think Kvyat would go. I think it would be Carlos Sainz. But yeah, pretty much. I think Kvyat was pretty annoyed after that, obviously. Out-qualified by Carlos Sainz, and then also he was out-raced by Carlos Sainz, but Kvyat still did have a pretty good race. He still finished in the points. He had a pretty good race. Let's be honest, both the Toro Rossos, both the Red Bulls had a fantastic race, not including obviously the Ricciardo incident. But obviously Max Verstappen, everyone expected him to come into this weekend at least, you know, at the most finish 3rd, but then obviously the Mercs got chucked out of it, so obviously it was just the Red Bulls and the Ferraris. But obviously Max Verstappen did a really good job, and he didn't just have to defend from another great driver. It was the legend. It was the legend himself, Kimi Raikkonen, that he had to defend from. Kimi Raikkonen is such a good driver, man. I mean, he was attacking for, I can't even remember how many laps he was attacking for, but he definitely gave it a good go. Max Verstappen, obviously, great defending. Obviously, even when we were in the race, we even thought that, you know, Max is definitely not going to win this because of his tyre strategy. And I mean, he was on really old tyres. I think it was 36 laps that he went on the medium tyres. I mean, that's still is a pretty big stretch for the hard tyres, never mind the mediums. But obviously, pretty good race overall. And once Ricciardo's tyre went out, like I think it was 2 laps before the end, I think everyone was like, oh, Max, if Max's tyre goes out, oh my god. But obviously, pretty good race. We didn't see much. Obviously, the main headlines of this race is obviously the battle towards the end of the race and the Mercs. But still, apart from that, it was a pretty good race. Like, we did see some action between the back markers. One of them being, we saw the Saubers like battle a bit, and we also saw a couple of good battles between the McLarens and the Hasses. But yeah, apart from that, we didn't really see much else, apart from most of the race was concentrated on the battle and talking about the Mercs and all that. But anyway, guys, subscribe for more F1 news and F1 content. Be sure to like this video, and yeah, go check out my main channel and my Twitter in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.